Today is China Stories number 2, this time featuring a vegan living in Beijing. So if you're new to my channel, I actually spent about 9-10 months, I can never remember, living in China in 2016. I made a ton of content while I was there. There are tons of videos linked down below. There's a bunch of blog posts down below. I lived in Nanjing, I lived in Beijing. But anyways, that's enough about my China story. China Story series is all about your guys' China stories. The very first one was from my friend Shelby, who traveled to China for adoption. She wasn't adopting, her sister was. You gotta go watch the video. Today, we are gonna hear from Katie. She is actually living in Beijing for about a year, teaching English, and she's vegan. That's the part that I found super interesting. I'm like, how are you vegan in China? It's actually her first time out of the country. She's from the US. So she's gonna answer some of my questions about her expectations before she left for China and what it's been like since she's been in Beijing for about 2 months now.
Hey everyone on Lauren's channel, I'm Katie. I'm currently living in Beijing. I've been here for about 2 months. And I'm going to be teaching English for about a year. Overall, how are you feeling about going to China? Mostly I'm excited. I've always wanted to travel to a different country. This is the first opportunity I'm getting to go to another country other than America, but I'm also nervous. There is that language barrier. I don't know what people are saying or how to communicate what I need or what I want. Do you know how to say anything in Mandarin? Not really. I know how to say hello, how are you? But other than that, I really don't know a lot of Chinese. But I am going to be looking in the next few months about taking a Chinese class, and I also work with a lot of native Chinese speakers. As an English teacher in China, what do you think will be the biggest challenge in the classroom? The language barrier. They don't understand a word that you're speaking, but you have to act it out and you have to convey to them what you're trying to say, so that through repetition and through seeing the actions that you're doing, that you're mimicking, and that you're repeating, they will eventually come to understand it. As a vegan, how difficult do you think it will be to eat out in China? What about grocery shopping? This is a question that I am still trying to figure out. It depends on how flexible you are with veganism, vegetarianism, whatever lifestyle you choose to live by, how flexible you're willing to be. Myself, I'm not willing to be that flexible. If it has any meat products or byproducts, I won't eat it. So no eggs, no fish tofu, not even little bits of meat in my vegetables. And the Chinese will do that sometimes. Even in a side vegetable, they will put a side of meat, because to them it means prosperity, and it's a good thing. It's hard for them to understand you don't want meat. Unless you're going to a vegetarian restaurant or a vegan restaurant, I think it will be difficult, especially if you don't know the language. And so I haven't really ventured out too much out of vegan or vegetarian restaurants here. It just depends on how flexible you are and how adventurous you're willing to be with your food. The grocery shopping will be pretty easy for me because there are tons of produce markets where I can get vegetables and fruit. It will just become difficult when I want to get specific vegan products. And for those, I have discovered Taobao. So a few people that I work with helped sign me up for Taobao and get my stuff delivered to the center that I work at. And so I will order like chia seeds, nutritional yeast, flaxseed. So if you want any of those more specific vegan products, you might have to find them from Taobao or JD or another delivery service in China. There are also international grocery stores that I've fallen in love with, April Gourmets and Jenny Lou's. They have a lot of brands that I recognize and that I love, but not specifically vegan, that you need for substitutions and replacements when doing vegan cooking. And so if you need those, then your best bet is going to be Taobao. Does China seem more communist or capitalist to you? Honestly, I think a little bit of both. I honestly don't really pay attention to politics that much, but from what I've noticed and from what I've read, I think a little bit of both. What are your hopes for your apartment housing in Beijing? One, I want a good commute. I've actually been in my apartment for about 3 weeks, and it's not a bad commute. I'm living with a roommate. Her commute is actually just a few stops from her center, and from my center I am actually an hour away, which I don't mind as much as I thought I would. The only thing I don't like about it is that sometimes it does get crowded at certain points in the day, and so I do try to pay attention to the times of day where the subway is crowded so that I can either avoid it or go earlier than I need to go. Our company gives us an allowance for our apartment. One of the things that I wanted to do was pay less so that I had some play money to either use for travel or to supplement my income so that I can live my vegan lifestyle, even though it's going to be slightly more expensive to live it by going to vegan restaurants all the time and paying a little more than an average Chinese person would on a regular meal. So I'm not so tight on my budget. And I also like our location because it's not in a really touristy location. It's more of a quieter location, and we like that. So it's not as busy and it's not as loud as some locations can be. Do you think it will be easy to stay within your budget as a China expat? I think, yes, you can live within your budget, but considering I'm also a vegan and I am going to be living a slightly more expensive lifestyle than an average Chinese person would, and I'm also getting paid in Chinese currency, it will be difficult at times, but that's also why I'm spending less on my apartment. The vegan restaurants are more expensive. If you look at the prices and then you look at the price of a regular Chinese restaurant, there is a little bit of a difference. I was going to go out to eat with one of my coworkers a few days ago, and we were walking around some of the restaurants trying to see if there was anything that I could eat. Then I went to go show her one that I had eaten from. She was like, oh no, it's too expensive. It's just, if you're going to live that lifestyle, just plan that. And we do delivery a lot, but that's only because we just moved into the apartment and we didn't have a lot of the cooking utensils that we needed for the hotel. So now that we're in the apartment, we have the microwave, we have a rice cooker, a blender, so it would be easier for us to fix food at home, and so that will be cheaper for us. Go to the grocery store, meal prep, and then we have food for the week. And if we decide one day of the week, oh, do you want to order takeout? It really just depends on how you organize your life and how flexible you are, and if you do takeout every day or if you go to the restaurants every day, and which delivery apps that you use. I use one that's all in Chinese, and I also use one that's in English. The English one is more expensive for the delivery fees. What are you most afraid of? I think what I'm most afraid of is getting lost. I am not the best with directions. You also have that language barrier. If you try to ask someone for directions, they may not speak any English. So a few things that I've done is save the Chinese characters of my center's address, my hotel's address, my apartment's address, places that I frequent. At the very least, I have those characters and I can show someone, maybe through pointing and gesturing or showing me on the map, I can get there. But it is something that I'm afraid of, is just getting lost. What are you most looking forward to? I'm most looking forward to learning about a new culture, learning a language, and getting to know people from all over the world, because this is the first time I've traveled outside of America, and I'm just really excited to really soak it all in and just enjoy life and to live it with less fear than I have been living it with. Because I haven't traveled before now out of fear, because I thought that bad things would happen to me, or that I couldn't because I had to pay off student loans or other excuses. But once I started thinking about this, I felt better, and I was like, okay, this is actually an exciting opportunity, so I want to really have fun with it and not be too scared of trying new things and be more adventurous. Hopefully my year will be filled with some great adventures.
I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm actually going to be following up with Katie again later on, so after she's gotten super acquainted with Beijing, she's, you know, a tried and true China expat, we're going to hear from her again. If you want to follow along with Katie's vegan adventures in Beijing, I encourage you to go follow her Instagram. I'll have the handle up on the screen right now and link down below in the description. If you are headed to China soon for the very first time, I definitely want to hear your China story. So be sure to send me an email to laurenwithoutfear@gmail.com. Please don't be shy. I really would love to hear from you. Other than that, all my links are down below. I've been really active on Facebook and Instagram lately, so I encourage you to go follow me on there. But I will see you next week, except for I'm including a little bonus video in a couple days. I'm not really sure, but anyways, sort of next week, sort of not. I'm also going on vacation soon. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Okay, bye.